Now, what are some adhkar and du'as we should be saying after salah? The first thing we say after saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, is that we say Allahu Akbar. We say Allahu Akbar. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that I used to recognize the completion of the prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by hearing takbir. And when he would say takbir, then I would know, okay, he has completed the salah. So this means that the Prophet ﷺ would say this Allahu Akbar slightly out loud, so that the people around him, people behind him, could also hear him. And this is beautiful. You begin salah with Allahu Akbar, and you end salah with what? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And then the first thing you say after completing your prayer is again Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Why are you saying Allahu Akbar again, when you just said it so many times in salah? Because after salah, a person could feel in their heart that, oh, I'm so good, I just did fard after this much sunnah prayer, and I recited so much Qur'an, and I spent 15 minutes performing these 4 raka'at, and I, made so much dhikr in ruku' or in sajda. There could be some kind of ujb, where a person is very impressed and amazed with themselves. So, Allahu Akbar teaches you humility, that Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. I was able to do this by the tawfiq of Allah. Allah enabled me, Allah taught me. So, Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. The remembrance of Allah is the greatest. And it is for the remembrance of Allah and to glorify Allah that we have been commanded to perform various forms of worship. So for example, in salah, there's so much takbir. After salah, there is takbir. The fasting of Ramadan, after that is what? Takbir. Dhul Hijjah, the fasting of Dhul Hijjah in Eid again is what? Takbir. So we glorify Allah, we mention His greatness, because the different acts of worship have been stipulated. Why? So that we glorify and remember Allah. Another thing we see over here is that the Prophet ﷺ would say Allahu Akbar out loud after salah, and this is especially after the fard prayer. So for example, the 3 rak'ah of maghrib, 4 of isha, 2 of fajr, 4 of dhuhr, 4 of asr. After the fard prayer especially, you should say Allahu Akbar. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and he said that, I mentioned this earlier, that he would recognize that the Prophet ﷺ had completed his salah when he heard him say Allahu Akbar. And we see over here that after salah is takbir. Some people instantly after saying salam, they raise their hands and they start making dua. Okay, you can make dua at any time. But when it comes to worship, remember that we should worship Allah the way that we have been taught to worship Him. And the best way to worship Allah is to follow the Prophet ﷺ. He is the one who taught us how to worship Allah. And he did not make this a habit that immediately after saying the salam, he would raise his hands. No. After saying the salam, he would say Allahu Akbar. Right? He would say the takbir. And we should also do the same in his footsteps.